All right. What's up, folks? Yeah, I just wanted to do a little impromptu, not to take up too much space in terms of information, but just hear people's thoughts about the very basic idea that this guy Charlie Kirk, right? That's his name. The idea that you can just go around, say the things that he says, right? And that is supposed to put you in a safe environment. Just these kind of open statements that he goes around the country and preaches. I mean, I know for one, if I went to Utah and said things that particularly were pointed at them and pointed out their failures and only talked about them with disdain, it's very possible I would be shot if I didn't have security. It's just that simple. And I think most people, mo- Bits, what's up? Hooray, just sat there. Yeah, I just decided to come on just for the heck of it, just to say hello and just wrap it up with people a little bit. But yo, what do you think about that? Like, what's being sold right now in the media? And I'm sorry, I don't think that all of them do it, but I think leadership and political leaders, they tend to try to find some way to explain things, and then the media catches on, and then they go by consensus. Even if it's something that's very obviously stupid and ignorant and dumb, it doesn't work and it is not practical in the country that you live in. The United States is a multicultural society with many different facets of people. It's not just white people. It's not just black people. It's not just Spanish speaking people. It's it's not just it's way deeper than that. There's different groups of white people. White people aren't one group. There's different backgrounds of different white people within history in the country and in class in this country today. There's different groups of black people. There's different groups of Spanish speaking people. They're not just one group. And the idea that you can just go around blatantly generalizing like Charlie Kirk does and expect to not incite violence is, in my view, ridiculous. I know I wouldn't be able to do it just as an average person. I wouldn't be able to go around saying all the stupid things that he says and expect to not get hurt. I'm just keeping it real. I and I'm just trying to figure out how many Americans do that, do what Charlie Kirk does in their everyday life and think that it's okay. How many of you would even think that that would be the reasonable way to approach things? I'm just curious. I'm just curious about that. BW, what's up? And I just think it's the fact that it's now gotten into the media cycle, and we see a lot of. I'm not dissing people's credentials, right? And I'm not dissing the idea that, yes, the whole world, everyone on earth should be able to say anything, say the things that they don't agree with to another person, even if it's ignorant, and expect that nothing happens. No, that would be a utopian world, and to have that expectation in a non-utopian world is utterly ridiculous. The people who are saying this right now, who are leading this charge that, it's just freedom of speech. These are people that think the rest of the world is in hell, that think the rest of the world is scum. You see what I mean? So it doesn't make sense. These people think the rest of the world is ignorant and stupid, right? So why would they think we live in a utopian world? Why would you think the United States is a utopian country when it has more guns than any other place on earth? I mean, I'm sorry. The reason that you learn how to have respect for other people and to speak with respect for other people, even if they're different from you, is because you want a better world. That's why you do it. And people like Charlie Kirk, we give these people the idea. We go around and make it seem like the world's going to get better if you have stupid people like him running around, demeaning people everywhere, just wandering around, demeaning everybody that they want, just out of their own ignorance, because it truly is out of Charlie Kirk's own ignorance that he does what he does. It's pure ignorance. It's embarrassing to the human species at this point in 2025. It's embarrassing. But what's even worse is this weird idea that that's supposed to just go over well with people. You just show up in their town and, hey, you don't know anything about these people, don't really know their story. And because you don't know their story, you're allowed to spew hateful, ignorant things at them and expect them to want to sit down and educate you about it when it's your dumbass responsibility to pick up the internet, go on ChatGPT and figure out why you're stupid. You can do that. Charlie Kirk could have gotten the answers to anything he wanted if he wanted the answers, but that's not what's behind it. He doesn't want the answers. He doesn't want the answers. He didn't want the answers. This is the very man who stood up there, and the most intelligent thing he could find to say about guns is that the deaths of guns in the United States is worth the price for the Second Amendment. Dude, is that as nuanced as you get? Is that as intelligent as you get? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. There is nobody that, no matter who they are, that goes into other people's towns and spaces and preaches hate about those people and actually literally doesn't expect a violent reaction. Nobody does that in the United States of America. Black people don't do it. Black people actually go to other people's towns and operate on their best behavior, knowing they can be killed for nothing. Knowing it. Trayvon Martin couldn't even get some goddamn Skittles as a little boy and wear a hoodie without someone lynching him. Period. Looking at him and saying, hey, you're minding your business, little boy. You're buying some Skittles, little boy. But I find you suspicious going home in your own neighborhood, little boy. And I'm going to follow you and I'm going to stalk you and I'm going to chase you down to the ground and I'm going to shoot you, little boy. That's what happened to Trayvon Martin. So I don't know what world and what country Charlie Kirk lives in, but this bullshit about you can just go and demean people and say anything you want just because you don't understand them and not expect to get anger from it is bullshit, especially in the United States of America, where people have been killing each other for centuries. They didn't understand the Native Americans. What did they do? Pow, 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 pow. Killed them. Didn't understand African Americans, African people. What do? Lynch, put them in chains. Jim Crow. Just because you didn't understand they were humans like you. I mean, how long do people have to keep explaining that they're just fucking humans like you, Charlie Kirk, you dumb motherfucker? How long is that going to take? In the richest country on earth, in the most wealthiest country on earth. How long is that really going to take? Come on. How much time do people have to fucking wait just to be respected as another fucking human being, you dumb motherfucker, Charlie Kirk? And now all these people are running around like, acting like he was the tolerant one, acting like he's Martin Luther King, acting like he was protecting the meek, acting like he was feeding the poor, acting like he was giving shelter to the needy and shit. He was none of the above. He didn't give a fuck about that. He didn't give a fuck about that. He did not. No one deserves to die, but Charlie Kirk didn't give a fuck if you died. NBA, no one deserves to die, but Charlie Kirk was a person living in the United States of America that didn't give a fuck if you died. He didn't give a fuck if you died and you were innocent. What are you talking about? This is the very man who said innocent gun deaths are the justified price for the Second Amendment. That means he doesn't care if innocent people die of gun deaths. Still, we need these guns rights the way that we have them. And not only that, we need assault rifles, like the kind that Charlie Kirk got shot with. We need assault rifles, not the kind that you shoot a deer with when you know how to fucking hunt and you want to teach your little kid. No, the type you kill human beings with when you're in a fucking war is the type that Charlie Kirk thinks is okay. The type, this kind of shit. He thinks it's okay. He thought it was just a fair price. Charlie Kirk was not a peacemaker. He was a hate spreader. He wasn't a person that respected people different from him as being equal. People that are just human beings like him, if they're different from him, he did not respect them. That is the problem. And no matter where you go in the world, even in the United States of America, preaching that type of logic, you will get hate in return eventually. Because it's not normal for people to have folks come to their town and tell them how fucked up they are day after day after day while they pay taxes and don't hurt anyone else. That's not normal. So the people that Charlie Kirk is offended by are just people he doesn't understand that are just other humans. It's not these other people that are picking on him that don't understand him for just being human. No, it's literally him. It's literally him. It's him. Now, here's the question. Where was the security? See, because you don't get killed in the United States of America for preaching hate. It's not that simple. You don't. Plenty of people preached hate. They've been preaching hate for centuries in the United States of America. That's never been the problem. Preaching hate has never been the problem in the United States of America. It is protected under freedom of speech. That's what it is right now. Hate speech in the United States of America is largely, if not all, protected by freedom of speech. It is. So hate speech has never been the problem. The problem is most logical thinking people understand that words do hurt. Intelligent people understand words do hurt. That's why you don't go to work and call your wife, your boss, because she's a female, a bitch. Because words hurt. That's why you don't go to work. You just don't do these things. You just don't do these things, Now, some places in the private sector, some places have restricted it, but MAGA people are saying, no, you should be able to call a woman a bitch in the workplace. Hey, it's just a word. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt anybody, right? Doesn't hurt anybody. There's no history connected to that word with women at all that I need to understand that's real about the United States of America. No, there's nothing I need to understand about that. I should just be able to remind women that they didn't have rights to vote, they didn't have the right to own land, and that they were the property of men. I can just remind my female boss of that through language at work. Why not? Why not? Actually, it doesn't make sense, does it, when you really are intelligent? The only way you get away with it is if you're either rich or as if you have security. That's really how you get away with it. No everyday person, no average person, no black person goes into a white town and says, hey, fuck you crackers, you fucking slave master bitches. Nobody does that because they know if you go to Utah and say that, you might get shot. No white person goes to a black neighborhood and just says, hey, you fucking N-words, fuck you, you fucking scumbag monkeys, and doesn't expect to get shot. Okay? It just doesn't work that way in the United States of America. It's stupid. It's stupid. And if you get away with it, you're very lucky that you're not hurt. But that should not be considered the norm. That should not be considered the norm, and it is not the norm. When people get on the train every day and have a peaceful ride on the subway together, it's because they're not hurling those insults at each other. That's how it works. That's how it actually works. That's how it works. And by the way, if you want to challenge it, go outside and challenge it tomorrow. Go to those towns. Go to all those towns and challenge it. But here's the thing. Where was the security? See, it worked everywhere. But if you just look at the tape, there was no security for Charlie Kirk. No, there was no state university security. There was not one security person that identified a shooter on the roof ready to shoot his ass because of what right wingers claim is extreme hatred. See, it's Trump and it's the right wingers that say he was a liberal who hated him. Okay, so if you know that that's a chance of happening, where was the security? The security was nowhere to be found. Not one person. All the shooter had to do was come from one direction, get up on the tallest building in sight, go close as they could to Charlie Kirk, get plain eyesight, and shoot. And then go. What did the shooter have to do? Just go in the opposite direction that he came. That's it. Nothing. He encountered nothing going in the opposite direction from which he shot, which is obviously what any shooter would fucking do. So where was the security? See, that's why he got shot. It wasn't because he preached hate. He did preach hate, but that's not why he got shot. People preach hate every day and get away with it, but it's usually with security. It usually is with security. That's how it works. It's never without security. Whenever it's without security, people get hurt all the fucking time. That's just what it is. People fucking get hurt all the time. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying it is a stone cold fact. It is a stone cold fact. You did not see one security officer, one sheriff, one police encounter the man that shot him. And all that man had to do was go in the opposite direction. The direction anyone would fucking do if they shot somebody, and yet there was no one there. No one. Zero. That's why. There it is. No one looked on the roof. No one looked on the roof. Not one police officer looked on the roof and said, that's fucking strange. We better do something about that. Nope. No one was in the back and said, this guy's climbing up on the roof. Why is he doing that? I'm a security guard. My job is to stand here in the grass and watch the back of the perimeter. Nobody was there. No one was there. There was nobody. I want to know. I want names. I want badges. I want to know how much money was spent on that security. I want to know where were they? Were they on tape? They were not on tape. They're nowhere to be found. They have video cameras that have him and don't have one goddamn police officer. What is the video camera there for? The video camera, what is it there for? The video camera can't stop a shooter. It can see it afterwards, but it can't do anything while it's happening. That's why you have police officers there. They didn't have them. They didn't have them. And the wife should sue the fuck out of the state. She should sue the fuck out of the university. She should. If she have some brains, she will sue them for millions. She will sue them for millions because they had a person on their premises that they knew was going to turn out a whole lot of people. And just the fact that you turn out a whole lot of people brings a whole lot of security concerns, including the one that he met. That's just how it works. Now, what is supposed to happen and what they probably will tell you happened, which likely didn't happen, is that he shows up. Yeah, release the Epstein files. Please do. Exactly. Because this shit about Charlie Kirk is dumb. It's almost manufactured. It's like, hey, what the fuck can I do to distract from the Epstein files? What my dumb ass will do? I'm going to go outside and preach hate, and I'm going to do it in front of 1,000 people at a university. And you know what? Fuck the security. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. No one does this. No one does this. This is stupid in the first place for him to even be doing it. It just shows how stupid the society is in the first place. The fact that we have a person like that, But the reality of it is that if you're going to have it, you're supposed to have security. There was none. Nobody saw one security person encounter the shooter after that shot happened. Not one. Not one. Now, what's supposed to happen is before he shows up, his security is supposed to go there. And before Charlie shows up, his security is supposed to talk with the university security to find out how the perimeter is being checked. And they're supposed to check with the state sheriffs to find out how the perimeter is being made safe. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what they're going to claim they did. They're actually going to claim they did it. But in fact, there was none. Because if there was some doing their job, that person would have been encountered. It's very simple. It's very simple. So it's not because he was preaching hate. No, 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 no. People preach hate all the time in the United States of America. They usually bring security with them. Yes, that's how you get away with it. And if someone tries to sue you, you usually hire some high-powered lawyers if you're rich. That's how they get away with it. Or they can buy their way out of it. But the average person knows they have to walk around with more common respect for other people. That's just how it works. And it's not just for certain kinds of people. It's for all kinds of people. All kinds. Because the average person knows. The average person knows when they walk around in society, the best thing you could have to protect yourself is common decency for other people. That's your best protection. That is literally your best protection. The moment you lose common decency and people feel that you don't have common decency, you start losing your security. You start losing your safety. That's really how it works. But you can't say that in the United States of America, no, because, people have the right to preach hate speech. I mean, we have to fight for that, just like we have to fight for the gun. Like Charlie Kirk said, it's not enough to fight for the gun. You got to fight for the hate speech, too. You see what I mean? You have to have a civil conflict. You have to have it because there has to be bigots. There just has to be because, hey, we're the richest country on earth. Fuck it. We could afford some bigotry, right? Even if it's stupid. Even if it's fucking Stone Age, we could still afford it. We could still have guys out there preaching that, hey, a woman's place is under a man. That's her second place. Yeah, we could still have people out there doing that. We could still have people out there trying to define themselves as something they're not. Something they're not. You could have that. Charlie Kirk doesn't like trans people describing themselves as trans people. Well, motherfucker, show me your DNA. You keep calling yourself white. Where's your fucking DNA test, bastard? Where are you? Who are you? What the fuck? You see what I mean? It's ridiculous at this point. It's ridiculous at this point. The rules are supposed to apply the same, but they don't. And that's the problem. That's the problem. And it's not that I'm some sort of big trans advocate. I'm not, although I have empathy for trans people, but I do listen to the arguments being made, and the arguments being made against them are the same arguments you could use against anybody's identity, any person. It could be used towards his white ass. Are you white? What the fuck does the word white mean? Show me your DNA test. Where does your lineage come from? Show me some evidence of what you are, bro. Like, show it to me. He doesn't have to do it. You see what I mean? That's the reality of it. He doesn't have to do it. But he has this identity that he's something that's not backed up by science. You see? He's just another dumb motherfucker. It doesn't matter if you're a dumb motherfucker that's white or a dumb motherfucker that's some other color or other look. It really doesn't matter. It's not special. You're still just a dumb motherfucker. And you will be a problem no matter where you are. You see, you will be a problem no matter where you are. You see, so to some degree, everybody has to have just common respect that, hey, even if I don't understand you, I don't need to understand you, because as long as you're not robbing me, as long as you're not stealing me or shooting me, I don't have a fucking problem with you. You see what I mean? Live and let live. And what's ironic is that the very person that shot his ass looks more like him than anyone else. They could be brothers. The person that shot him could be his own brother. The person that shot him was in his own town, where in his own state where he comes from, at the very least. Charlie Kirk doesn't even fucking come from that town. I'm not justifying it, but I'm just saying Charlie Kirk came there. He came there. Charlie Kirk's not from there. He came there. The guy's 22 years old. No security. Boy, that was fucking dumb. Boy, that was fucking dumb. Because what are you going to do now? You're going to preach that, oh, everyone's supposed to go through this thing where we just imagine that, oh, wow, he should be able to walk around and say say what he thinks in this world without the risk of being shot. No, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. He's been spreading hate speech about all kinds of people, and then went on a tour to many towns. You know what I'm saying? This showed up in Utah, a town where people at young age are taught to use automatic rifles, automatic weapons to kill human beings with, not animals, human beings with. And according to MAGA, he didn't like the person. This is only according to MAGA. It's the MAGA people that say he was a leftist. So according to MAGA people, that person didn't like his ideology in the state that he comes from, and shot someone who doesn't fucking come from his state, preaching hate. I mean, that's the story according to MAGA people. You go back to the Black Lives Matter thing. It was the MAGA people, they backed up someone else with the gun going to another state and shooting somebody. You see the hypocrisy in this? So we already know that whatever this little tour is about, hey, we should all be able to say our mind. Yeah, in a utopian country, in a utopian world, but you got a long way from anything utopian in the United fucking States of America. God damn it, you should be slapped for even saying something like that. That is utterly stupid. You have not earned anything close to fair, let alone utopian. What the fuck? The richest country on earth is acting like it's a utopian motherfucking haven and shit. Like, hey, can we all get along? Hey, can we? It's not going any fucking where. That argument is bullshit. That argument is, but you have more homeless people per square foot than any goddamn else, in wealthy nation. You have more guns than what you got all the motherfucking guns for if you're utopian? What the fuck? What do you have all the guns for if you should just be able to walk and speak your mind? So what are the fucking guns for then? What are the guns for? Why do you need more guns than any other place on earth per square foot per person if the idea is that you're supposed to just be able to speak your mind? Oh, really? Oh, really? So what's the guns for? What's all the fucking guns for? See, it's just hypocrisy. Charlie, you are a victim of your own thinking, your own self. And no matter what these people do to try to justify what you're doing as something on the higher ground, you were not on the higher ground. You were just dumb and not being honest with yourself and not being honest about the country you live in. That's why you got shot. And the people who in the state, they utterly failed. They utterly failed. They didn't just fail Charlie Kirk. They just failed every fucking thing. I mean, you're supposed to have better security for just Beyonce, and people love her. Goddamn, let alone a person spewing hate. You're supposed to, when you have a person spewing hate, it's not like they had Bruce, it's not like they person had a person coming to town preaching love and shit. You know what I'm saying? They had a person coming to town preaching hate, and they were like, yeah, we don't really need any security for this. But everybody's got a gun in this state, though. But we don't really need security for this. I'm sorry, that's just dumb. Only Americans will ever see it that way. Everyone else is looking from the outside in and saying, what the fuck is wrong with these stupid fucking people? Like, when are they fucking going to take a hint? When are they going to learn something from another Western nation? Never, because they're too good to fucking learn. That's what's going on in the U.S. And Charlie Kirk is part of it. And Tyler Robinson, he's part of it too. That's a cycle. That's a cycle. And that cycle ain't going nowhere fast. It doesn't matter what Trump says for his little political purposes right now. That shit ain't going to change, because you must do much harder work to change that. It can't just be a political post. It can't just be an executive order. No, no, no. That takes grassroots, everybody coming together in a way that they really are not used to coming together in the United States of America. For nothing. Still the richest country on earth, so you could clap about that, but it's not going to keep people off the streets from getting kicked out of their homes. It's not going to bring better access to education for anybody. No, being the richest country on earth won't do that. It won't stop the gun violence. Being the richest country on earth won't stop the gun violence. What else will it not stop? It ain't going to stop none of it. Because money is not what buys you utopia. Money is what's buying you hell, because you have greedy bastards there that are willing to do anything to confuse the average person by uttering just stupid concepts while they rob everybody for it. That's what's going on in the United States. And this whole thing about, you need to, people are allowed, should be expected to say what they want and preach their mind. That's a load of bullshit. First, you need to make sure that everyone has a right to health care. You need to first make sure everyone has the right to a wage that pays the motherfucking bills. You need to first make sure that people have fair access to education. Then you can expect more utopian ideas after that. That's how it fucking works. What the fuck? Anyway, I'm glad some of you get where I'm coming from. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not ready for this message, but you need to understand something. You're hearing this message from a person that lives in a country that has universal health care. You're hearing this message from an American citizen that lives outside of the U.S. in a country that already has universal education. That means when anyone wants to go and better themselves through education, the only thing that is stopping them is themselves, not a fucking check. You see, if you don't want medical help here, whether it's psychological or physical, the only person stopping you is you in the place I'm living as an American citizen. And that's not the United States of America. In the United States of America, if you want help for mental illness, you need fucking money. In the United States of America, if you want to better yourself through education, you need fucking money. In the so that's how they got everybody running around in circles, people getting frustrated about other human beings that are just other human beings. Instead of wanting a fair shake for everybody, you start turning on each other, and now you look for the people that are the easiest to point out. That's what Charlie Kirk was. That's who he really is. He's not a hero. The young man that shot him, I wish that he could get help. But my advice to young people is don't waste your life on a scumbag like Charlie. Don't waste your life. Your life is more valuable than having it taken away because you kill a scumbag like Charlie. A scumbag is just going to be a scumbag. You don't have to kill him. But the idea that you're not going to incite violence doing what Charlie Kirk did is bullshit. That doesn't work for any average person in the United States at all, because it is way too diverse for that. There's way too many, and if you're sophisticated to understand the country, you don't have a problem at all. But if you're unfucking sophisticated like Charlie Kirk and bigoted, you're gonna have problems wherever you fucking go. I guarantee you. You will. So keep it up. And if you want problems, learn from Charlie Kirk. Be that type of person, and you will fucking see. Just like if you're the anti Charlie Kirk. Let's say you're a black guy who's a black supremacist who thinks blackness is the thing that cures all ills and la 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 la. Well, try going down, and you think that the white man is the devil, and you're comfortable saying that. Try going down to Utah and preaching that shit on the corner and see what happens to you. Which is why you don't really see it often. It's just very simple. Charlie Kirk is the same shit. He's the same thing. He's just the white version of it. He's the white version of a black supremacist. A black supremacist is the white version of a black version of a white supremacist. They're not different. They're the same things. They live in an imaginary world with no nuances. If you don't have health care, you need to ask yourself why you live in the richest country on earth and don't have it. If you can't actually go to any education that you want because of money, and you live in the richest country on earth, you need to ask yourself, why is that? Stop blaming somebody else. Stop blaming somebody else. It's how you vote. You vote against your own interest. 1/3 of the American population that can vote does not vote. The other 2/3, there's only 1/3 of those that vote for things that are for all people. The other third votes for things that ain't for nobody, really, except the rich. That's the US. That's where the US lives. That's where the US is. And those rich people love division. Those rich people love Charlie Kirk as much as they would love a black supremacist. They really do love Al Qaeda. I mean, look at motherfucking Trump. He went out there after they fought the Taliban, who doesn't want women to even be in school, little girls to even have an education. After they fought against the Taliban, the US, Trump went right back and just made a deal with their ass because he likes oppressive groups. That's what he stands for. He stands for the oppressive group. And he does in the US also. The Christian right is the same goddamn thing as the Taliban. They're no different. They're no different. They're no different at all. They're just as dumb. They're just as bigoted. They're just as incapable of leading anything. The only thing they're capable of leading is hate and division. But the people that are behind them, the wealthy folks, there are some wealthy people behind the Taliban. They don't believe any of that shit. They just use them to, corral the poor like shepherds. You know what I'm saying? And people go for it. That's how things work. So the richest country on earth operates kind of like Afghanistan operates, which is sad. You would think more money would make people more wise, but you can see it really doesn't. It really doesn't. I'm reading the chat right now. This is so funny. I'm just saying it, listen, I'm only speaking my mind. I'm only speaking my mind. And again, I'm not going to other people's towns talking down to them. You see, I'm in my home saying what I have to say, saying what I believe. I don't believe any people are inherently better than any other group of people. That's a message of peace. That's a message you should be able to work with. That's a message you should embrace. But if you find that message strange, okay, sure you find that message strange. I'm not surprised because people will defend Charlie Kirk. They will. They will defend it. And then they will try to get other people to do it. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen because the truth is that to speak like Charlie Kirk, you actually need security. That's the end of the day. That's what happened at the end of the day. He would have walked home had he had security. He didn't that day. Now, if we want to watch the tape, we can watch the tape and we can watch how he didn't have no goddamn security. Is it coming up? Hold on here. For some reason, it's not coming up on the screen. All right, let me pick the next one. Let's see if this comes up. Here we go, y'all. 2 seconds. Let me do this one more time. Here it is. Now, it takes some time. It's not hard to figure out how much time it took this man to run from the shooting position, because it's all on camera, to hop down off of the building and then run across the grassy knoll to the sidewalk where he began to walk, and still not one police officer in sight. Let me grab the other one because it starts in the wrong place. Why doesn't it start here? All right, hold on. Let me do this one more time. Sorry for the delay. I'm going to pick it up. Hold on. Let's see here. Is that not it? Is that it? Is this it?
We did receive.
I do want to bring in our national law enforcement and intelligence correspondent, Tom Winter. Tom, what are you hearing from your sources about either the suspect?
We did.
All right, I'm going to play this one. It starts at the corner, but in reality, the one we reviewed already yesterday, right? It took him already 30 seconds to run across that roof to get to the corner where he is already. It took him another 30 seconds to hop off of the roof. That was not a 2-second hop. Then it took him another minute to run across to the grassy knoll and get on the sidewalk where he started walking. That's 2 whole minutes. This is the opposite side of the building. How many seconds was that? You see how long it took him to hop off of the roof? This is not a fast getaway. This is not a fast getaway at all. It's not. Now watch him. You can see. Look at this. He's up on the roof. I'm going to mute the music. This is not a fast getaway. It's just not fast at all. The guy hops down. He's running. Man, I'm sorry. This dude, had there been security there, this dude could have been caught. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Look at this. No, that's not 3 seconds. What are you talking about? He was standing for like 5 seconds just at the corner, not even knowing what to do. Look at this. That's not 3 seconds. No. You see, people see what they want to see sometimes. This is definitely, come on. What is this? Now he's running. Okay, so what's the excuse? Now he runs across the grassy knoll. No security, no police back at the building. Just nobody. He's still there. Still there. That's not too fast. That's not fast at all. Still going up the street. Nobody's still there. Now he's just walking. Still not fast at all. Had there been one, just one security person, sheriff, police officer, anything, they would have saw that. Just one. Just one. How much does one person cost to pay? How much does one fucking person cost to pay? What is that? What is that? This is not slowed down. You guys are crazy. This ain't slowed down. This is not slowed down. You're totally missing it. This is not slowed down at all. This is just what it takes. Look at the size of the building. I mean, come on. You got to be reasonable. This takes time, but you're not going to, actually get away with saying this is slow. This ain't slow, man. The guy's not moving slowly. It's just a big ass roof. But here he gets to the corner. That's not a fast jump down. That is a slow one. He's trying to navigate it. That's not 3 seconds like somebody said. That's not 5 seconds. He's still no. This is and you got to remember, half of the building, you only saw him in the second half of the building. He was on the other side. He was even further away on the other side of the building. So, he didn't start where the camera picks him up. So after they heard the shot, or if you had anyone on the backside of the building, all you had to do was say in your radio, what's his name's been shot, secure. And everyone know what their job is. Look for somebody running. Look for someone moving around. The people in the back, stay in the back. The people in the front, stay in the front. And they just look to observe. There's no one in the back to observe. There's just nobody back here. You can see the whole back of the building. There is no one there. There's no one there. There's just no one there. There's nobody. He was an excellent marksman, though. He was definitely trained. He definitely was an excellent marksman. But there's nobody there to catch him. There's just no one there. You can't catch it is impossible to catch anyone at the scene of the crime if there are no police in the area. That's just it. You cannot solve any crime that way. It doesn't matter if someone is littering. It doesn't matter if someone is having a domestic dispute. It doesn't matter if somebody is shooting up heroin. It doesn't matter if somebody's getting raped. No police mean no, you don't solve any fucking crime. That's what that means. That's what that means. No one was there. Had they been there, they would have seen him go up on the roof. It's just that fucking simple. To actually literally try to, it's like putting more people at risk by trying to make excuses about the shit. This is a security failure. It's a security failure. This is a bigger security failure than the one that happened to Trump, actually. That was a security failure. It's almost like they went backwards with security. Like, oh, you know what? Fuck it. Let's use less people than we use on Trump. Let's do less than we know Charlie Kirk is like, people hate him. We know he's controversial. We know that. Hey, but you know what? Let's just not have as strict security as someone like that might require. Nah, man, they have more security for Beyonce, bro. Like, seriously, they have more security for anybody on any regular day. It's just ridiculous, man. The guy is not doing well at escaping at all. He's not doing well. He's not doing well. He can barely navigate getting down the building. I mean, then he's got this grassway he's got to go to. Look at this shit. That's not a police car. Now he's on the sidewalk. There's still nobody. There's nobody. There's no, it's just the bottom line is there's nobody in the back of the building, man. There's just no one there. And you can't stop an execution with nobody in the back of the building. It's just that simple. You can't. You have no chance of stopping it. They had no chance because of their security. They had no chance at protecting this man's life. Not from a sniper. It's just that simple. So I don't know what they were looking to protect, but they might know now that there's more guns in the United States than any other place on earth per person, per square foot. And there's always been divisions in the United States expressed by citizens for a very long period of time. It's documented. It's expressed in the House. It's expressed in the Senate. It's expressed by the citizens. It's constant. It's just a well-known fact, right? You hear people speaking about it. How, Charlie Kirk speaks about it. He's very divided. He doesn't understand other people. He doesn't. He doesn't. So there's things he doesn't like about all kinds of other people. There's all kinds of people that have things they don't like about him. In an environment like that, you probably might want to recognize it and not pretend like it's a utopian society. That's all. And this is like, it's ridiculous. How many school shootings have there been in the United States? How many mass shootings have there been in the United States? How many assassination attempts? These judges, these presidents, all of them, the only presidents that talk about how many times they get death threats are the bitch ass ones, because the truth is that they all get loads of death threats. It's just the ones that are smart don't talk about it. They don't want to use that because that's just comes with the job. That's normal. But the punk ass ones go out there and they're like, how many times I get a death threat? Well, motherfucker, people hate you. Goddamn. It's America. People hate you. You get death threats. And that's true. Joe Biden got loads of death threats. You never heard him talk about one. You never heard him talk about one. He was very hated by the right. Very, very hated. It's very simple. In the United States of America, judges that are on the right wing get death threats. Judges that support left ideas get death threats. That is America. And why do they get death threats? Because Americans have this kind of hatred. They do. And if you don't want to admit it, you ain't going nowhere as a society. You're not going anywhere. You're just going to have another election based on nothing. Same little circular ideas, same issues, never being satisfied. While Elon Musk is looking for a new country to invade, while Trump's family, they're looking for another country to invade too, because they got to get that money out of the country. They know it's not going to last forever. So, yeah. But if you think that security was well done, hey, my suggestion to you is keep security just like it is then. You keep the security just like it is, and you just go around, find someone else to go around the country and find out why he hates other people that aren't doing any harm to him. You just do that and see how that works out. And I will just watch while I have my health care living outside of the U.S. I will just watch like everybody else on the outside and take a look at it and see how it works out. How about that? We keep it that way. Now, look, Eric Klein said, but Eric, if I did a college tour, I would definitely have some security there. And, it's like this guy is huge. This guy is huge. It's not like you start off with that. Maybe you don't. But this guy is huge, man. This guy is huge. I mean, the bottom line is it comes with the territory. It comes with the territory. So if you want to be in this type of environment, it does come with the territory. And you need, just like the entertainers, Beyonce and all of them, they don't travel around without security. They pay a lot of money for security. Why? Because there's crazy ass people out there. What the fuck? I didn't see Trump out there trying to pass a law to stop people from harassing entertainers and shit. No. Entertainers have to pay for their own private security. You know what I'm saying? But when you're into, uh, actually, I consider Charlie Kirk just entertainment, but Trump, he wants it to be like political positioning, so he wants it to be politicians should be able to preach hate, under the guise of hate. They know that the things that they're saying is not true, but they want it to go under the guise of freedom of speech. So they try to argue that it's just my perspective, and then ask for evidence, and then people show them evidence, and then they pretend like they don't see the evidence. So it's really like a fake game going on. Charlie Kirk knows if he didn't have security and he didn't have money, he wouldn't be saying these things. It's just that simple. You might say them in the small town where you come from, but the moment you start traveling the country that is very diverse, not simply diverse by color or diverse by, gender or diverse by sexuality. No, no, even more diverse. People are accustomed to different types of lifestyles and cultures in different parts of America. It's very simple. And that transcends beyond race and color and sexuality. That transcends far. People largely in the Midwest think very different from people in the coastal regions, and that has nothing to do with sexuality or race. It has something to do with history. It's just that simple. So, you ought to keep that in mind. You ought to keep that in mind. But also, you should keep in mind that if you are preaching hate, it's possible that a person that used to be hateful changes their mind. That's also possible. You see what I mean? And it's also possible that if you're preaching hate in a place that has more guns than anywhere else on earth, where people have assault weapons designed for war to kill human beings, preaching hate like Charlie Kirk might not be wise at all. It might not be. It's much better to preach love and tolerance if you're going to go around doing it. It has greater rewards. And if you want to mend divisions, then you have to learn how to talk about people with respect in real terms. Different people that are different from you. You have to learn how to do that. Like, I know how to do it. People in the Midwest, they eat bread. People on the coast eats bread. What's special about bread? Everybody around the earth has their own kind of bread that they make. Everybody eats bread. Rich people, poor people, everyone has their own kind of bread. Native Americans might have had cornbread. They might make different kinds of bread with it. Europeans make bread, right? Same thing. Everybody around the earth has a type of bean that they eat. It doesn't make you any different from anyone else. Beans, everyone eats beans. You see, it doesn't make you special. If someone makes a bean a little different from you, that shouldn't be a problem to you. You're smarter than that. You can figure it out. These things shouldn't lead to division if you actually have some intelligence. But people like Charlie Kirk don't have intelligence, and they make even different kinds of beans a motherfucking problem. That's what's going on here. That's what's going on here. You see what I mean? That's what's going on here. If you ate a different bean than Charlie, he would make a problem out of that. This is so funny. Yeah, when your God is a hateful, vengeful God, you think that exactly this dude is like hateful and vengeful and shit. Look what happened to him. My God is not hateful and vengeful and shit. My God is like even even be to, even practice tolerance towards people you don't understand, because at the end of the day, you don't need everyone to understand everything that you understand right now, or nothing. You see what I mean? It takes time for people to develop ideas. You can't rush or push people. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. And that's what these folks are trying to do. They're trying to force people to think a certain kind of way when they don't think this way. They just don't. People should have, if you want to live in Arizona, excuse anybody that's from Arizona, excuse me, but I was out in Arizona. I went around. This was in 2019, and I was shocked by how much electric power there was not. How many solar panels there were not in use. I was in shock. I was in shock by how many L cars there were not. I was in shock about it, but it's politics. It has nothing to do with what's good for Arizona. It has everything to do with oil politics and how much money. And but those people vote on that. They vote on that stuff. You see what I mean? They vote on it, and they have their own differences about it. But if you want them to change, then you have to learn how to talk about it. You see what I mean? But if they don't want to change, hey, fuck you. You be there. I don't live in Arizona. You be the way you want to be. But don't come and try to tell other people that they're wrong for being the way they are too. And I think that's where this right wing, they get off at. They're very poor at managing economies. The red states are really the states that bring in the least amount of federal dollars for the federal government to operate. They use more. You see what I mean? They require federal dollars from other states, from blue states that actually do operate successfully, you know? But yet the people in the red states are acting like they know every fucking thing. They're acting like they're good at everything, and they're just not good at everything. And look at why. Because they're trying to preach ignorance is wise. They're literally holding up ignorance as a banner for greatness. It's like, no, 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 no. Ignorance is not a banner for greatness. Ignorance is a banner for poverty. Ignorance is a banner for cycles of poverty over and over and over. And I mean, another example is like, this wave, this epidemic of fentanyl. I have empathy for that epidemic of fentanyl. It's terrible. The epidemic of fentanyl is horrible, right? I have empathy for it. And I do think that states need the resources to allow people to get into to facilities so they can get drug rehabilitation help. They need that. But there's also other issues like that lead people to this type of helplessness, to feel like they need to hide in drug abuse. There's things like that. So I empathize with all of that shit. But when the crack epidemic existed when I was younger, a lot of these same right-wing states, they didn't have any empathy. They didn't have any understanding, no human connection to the problems, why they could exist. And look at who's facing it now. Look at who's facing it now. They are. They're facing it now. You see? And yet you got people like Charlie Kirk running around preaching hate instead of saying, hey, man, we need to have more empathy for people that suffer drug abuse in the United States. It's not their fault. People are depressed. People have lack of jobs. People have this and that, but you can do that without scapegoating other people. You could do that without scapegoating, trying to make it seem like other people don't have that same problem that you just described. You see what I mean? And I think Charlie Kirk, he's just an example of what's wrong in the United States for real. And it's not his color, because there's different colored people that preach the same type of ignorant shit in the United States of America. Different forms of hate. Different forms of hate. But, when it's propped up instead of just called what it is, it's really going to have a devastating. I think people like Charlie Kirk have more of a devastating effect on poor white rural Americans than anyone else. In their mind, they imagine that they're attacking other people. No, man, they're attacking themselves with this stuff, because ignorance kills from the inside. It does a job that no one from the outside could ever fucking do. No one could ever do. You know what I mean? And yeah, and that's what's going on in these red states. Ignorance from the inside is killing them. Same thing with hurricanes. It's a primary example. Everybody knows that that the weather patterns on Earth are getting more violent and more volatile. What does the Republican president do? He stops the funding for disaster relief. What do red state people do? Say, okay, fuck it. Like, what's wrong with you? You don't want your disaster relief funds? You don't want that? Like, why don't you want that? Because you're ignorant. You're ignorant. That's why. It's your tax dollars. And someone has convinced you that you shouldn't have it. That's dumb. But yet they have people in that kind of cycle, you know? So would a person from a blue state say they don't want their federal dollars that they already paid back for disaster relief? No. Would a red state say it? Yeah. A red state would say it, and red states do say it. So that means the people that populate those states will have it even harder. They already have more poverty than blue states. Then they want to add on top of it no disaster relief. Then you want to add on top of it people like Charlie Kirk, making them more isolated and more ignorant in the brain. Yo, that's genocide. That's genocide. I mean, but that's my opinion. But in any case, I'll be back, everybody, in about 4 hours. It's going to be nice. It's been nice to chat with people. I hope folks are coming to terms with, how a person that looks like Charlie Kirk could kill him in a Midwestern state called Utah, coming from a town that's largely Republican, mostly Republican, coming from a family all Republican, from a man who claims to be a nonpartisan, who's not down with Democrats and not down with Republicans. I hope you can grasp that idea, because if you don't, hey, fuck it. You won't ever, get past this point. You will stay in this point that you're in, for a longer amount of time, while your tax dollars are, you're still paying taxes, by the way. I hope you realize that. You're still going to be paying your taxes. So, you will be in that same place while you pay those taxes. So, but for those of you that get the message, and want something better than that, let's see what we can do to enlighten minds to get it there. But I'll be back with y'all in a little bit, man. I appreciate it. I just wanted to have a little evening snack with my latte again, and for grown folk, and be blessed, y'all. Release the Epstein files, yo. What you scared of? What you scared of?